Is one of two major cellular network providers in South Africa. The marketing strategies of the brand needs to be cutting edge in the cutthroat market in which it operates in. With arguably the biggest sporting tournament taking place next year, how does the brand intend to capitalize on the event without being accused of ambush marketing? Well, Enzo Scarcella, Managing Executive Marketing Vodacom South Africa, is here to answer some of those questions, and Gavin Heron is this week's guest host. Welcome, gentlemen. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks very much.
I'll begin with you, Enzo. As I mentioned, 2010 is around the corner. The World Cup obviously is going to prove to be quite a challenge to both the official sponsors of the event and those who are not. What is Vodacom's strategy?
I mean, obviously for us, it's a big challenge because our biggest competitor is one of the headline sponsors of the event. We're in the fortunate position of having the South African national team as one of our sponsorship properties. So we sponsor Bafana Bafana, and for us that's where we're going to put our effort behind, is to say that Vodacom, as the leading South African network, supports our national team.
Will you be able to mention the names though, Bafana Bafana, during the 2010 World Cup?
Yep, so we have the rights around South African national team, SAFA, Bafana Bafana, anything associated with the South African national team. We have the rights to use the icons, the naming conventions in our support for them. Obviously, we can't use any of the marks or trademarks associated with the World Cup 2010 because those don't belong to us, and we don't have any rights there.
Gavin, I think you'll agree with me. It's going to be a thin line, wouldn't you say?
No, I don't think so, because I think the I mean, it's a little bit what Vodacom have done, is a little bit what Scarcella have done. You know, sponsor the national team. I don't think consumers are going to actually see the difference between you as a official sponsor.
That's what I meant.
Or
exactly.
as the guys that are supporting South Africa. We just got to hope that Bafana carry on through in order for you to maximise that sponsorship.
Gavin, would you like to take this conversation forward in terms of, look, it's December. There's usually a huge marketing competition between you and your biggest competitor in the South African market particularly. They've recently launched their own campaign. What's your response to that campaign as Vodacom?
Obviously, we've launched a campaign before that. So in December, there are two things we've launched. We have a big promotion giving away 27 million rand to 100,000 subscribers, and that's kind of our big initiative for December. We've also more recently launched a campaign in response to the reduction in interconnect rates. We've reduced our on-net call rates by 15%, and we launched that campaign last week, and that'll be an ancillary campaign for December to support our 27 million rand giveaway.
By the way, I have been receiving those SMSs. I wonder why I haven't won the million yet. But Gavin...
but Enzo, one of the challenges for you, I suppose, and the opportunity as well, is all these visitors that are coming into South Africa. Do you see a big opportunity in capturing those people on roaming?
I think there's a big opportunity for us there. So what we have, as I said, there are two distinct sets of target markets for 2010. One is your local market, where for us it's about brand defense and ensuring we maintain top-of-mind awareness. And then there's the international visitor. And that's really about, as you say, generating some roaming revenue off of them. The fortunate position we're in is that we're part of the Vodafone network, which operates in 66 countries. So the familiarity with the Vodacom brand and the Vodafone network will be there with international visitors. So we should have, the bulk of the visitors coming in should feel comfortable with the Vodacom brand.
I know you're here to talk about marketing, but I need to touch on that, and particularly during the World Cup. I know during the Confed Cup there was a problem with actually carrying so many people on the networks during that time. Have you managed to overcome those technical problems? Yeah,
one of the conditions of awarding the license was infrastructure upgrade, and we were a part of that. So Telkom, MTN, and ourselves have been a part of upgrading the infrastructure, especially on major kind of commuter routes and around stadiums. So all of that was completed by kind of the end of Confed Cup.
Now there's the RICA Act, which was recently implemented in South Africa. What are you as Vodacom doing to encourage your customers to actually register for RICA?
So we're putting out quite a bit of advertising. So all of our retail advertising has RICA communication attached to that. In the early part of next year, we will launch a campaign and provide some incentives. So we're providing incentives for traders, first of all. What we will do come February, provide incentives for consumers to register. And that's really what we're doing. So up to now, we've registered probably about 20 to 25% of the entire base. And so we've got another 75% to cover in the next 12 months.
We're coming to the end of 2009, Gavin. How would you say Vodacom has performed in terms of their advertising and marketing strategy this year?
Well, I think that I think Vodacom do a fantastic job. It's one of South Africa's most loved brands, and I think it communicates as a real South African brand. I think and it has historically, where the Yebo Gogo campaign, the Meerkat campaign, this Player 24 campaign. The challenge for me, and the question I wanted to ask you was, as Vodafone becomes as an international brand, what is the risk to you actually losing your natural South African flavor as you move forward? Will Vodafone interfere, or are they going to just let you carrying on doing what you do best?
No, no, I think the branding approach that Vodafone takes is to say we want an internationally recognizable brand with local roots and a local personality. So that's, if we do rebrand to Vodafone, what you'll see is we'd become Red and we'd become Vodafone, but the personality will be still very much quirky, South African, humorous, because that's really kind of what's worked for us over time. So that'll stay. So if you look at the recent example of India rebranding, India rebranded to Vodafone, but the iconography, all of that, they migrated from the Hutch brand to the Vodafone brand. And Vodafone has become one of the most loved brands in India now.
Now, Vodacom, as Gavin mentioned, is one of the loved brands in South Africa. However, Africa has proven to be quite a challenge for you.
Yeah, it has. So I think we've been successful, as you point out, after Coca-Cola, second most loved brand in South Africa. So that's been a big achievement for us this year. Where we're looking to go is, say, in Africa. So we market ourselves in this country as South Africa's leading cellular network. Now, obviously, that doesn't transport very well, because South Africa can only be one place. Leading, you can only be in a leadership position to use that claim. So what we are looking at is, we've put a African marketing resource in my team, and what we're looking at is creating a universal brand positioning that can transport through the rest of the other African operating companies. And also ensuring that we have brand consistency in all of those and a common personality. So that's from the brand part. But I think the problems we faced are more than a brand problem. I think they're problems of economics and pricing and very, very fierce competition.
But that's because I've been doing quite a lot of work in Lagos, well, Nigeria and Ghana, and well, Nigeria specifically because it's so big, 150 million people. But even Ghana, and it's not a huge country, has got 6 operators all competing for quite a small market. And I see that Vodafone is there. They bought a previous company, but it's Vodafone and Glow Mobile, and everybody is in these places. And I don't understand why South Africa just seems to be a little bit less competitive. We've got 2 major players. We have Cell C, who's obviously trying very hard. Where do you see competition coming from in the South African markets moving forward? Yeah,
I think there's like-for-like competition, so mobile network operators, but I think with convergence, you'll see competition come from all over the place. So you look at the recent kind of VANS legislation, that really allows anybody to be a carrier of telecoms. I think for us, VoIP, so voice over IP, major threat longer term. So data carriers become voice players. When you look at the new Apple iPhone, you can make a VoIP call on an iPhone. And
so you're using Skype?
No, I don't. So that's so I think the competition.
Very good question,
in the telecom space, the traditional telecoms competitor, I don't think is where the competition comes from. So you look at Vodafone internationally, who do they see as the big competitors? Google and Apple, really. They see the big threats coming from Google and Apple rather than from Zain or MTN or any of those.
Enzo, it was a pleasure having you on the show. Gavin, you sticking around for the rest of the program?
I wanted to ask one more question to Enzo.
You do not have time, Gavin, but okay, we'll give you 30 seconds.
What's happening with your Ponty Tower asset?
Ponty Tower, I mean, we'd like to be in that for the long term. So we're in that. We've looked at the FIFA regulations, obviously very visible from Ellis Park, but the FIFA regulations kind of stipulate that it's legal. We've had it for the past 10 years, and it's really not predatory marketing. So we're looking to keep it for the long term.
Okay, well, good luck on that.
Thank you.